Would you like to learn about Russian hysterectomies? Black Widow, released finally in 2021 in theaters and on Disney Plus, and is directed by Kate Shortland, who has also directed such films like Somersault, Lore, and Berlin Syndrome. And this film is starring Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, David Harbour, William Hurt, Ray Winstone, and Rachel Weisz. The events of Black Widow takes place months after the events of Captain America Civil War. In other words, this film should have happened 5 years ago. Natasha Romanoff is on the run from the US government because she has violated the Sokovia Accords and is hiding out in Norway. However, in other parts of the country, the Widow program, being controlled by the Russian communist Rykov, is trying to recover vials that allow them to break free of their mind control. And the only one that is able to break free by accident is Yelena Romanoff, and sends a secret message to Natasha to have her join her in Budapest and to help bring down this hidden regime that has been working in the shadows for several years. I think that's the best plot summary that I can give without spoiling anything, and I don't want to do that because this is a very rare occasion for me where I'm actually reviewing a film that came out opening weekend. Thankfully, it was released on Disney Plus, because mentally, I'm still not ready to go back to theaters, and if there is a streaming service where a film is available on it, you know what? Damn it, I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna be in the comfort and safety of my own home. And I think that's where my mindset was with this film and my frustration with this film for the last year and a half. Originally, this movie was supposed to come out in May of 2020, but of course the whole pandemic and shutdown thing happened, movie theaters were shut down, and all of us were kind of just sitting at home wanting something, wanting to be entertained by something. Too bad Marvel and Disney didn't have their own streaming platform where they could give us the movie last year, maybe pay a premium price then, but, they wouldn't make us wait a year and a half to watch this, would they? Oh, wait, they would. So as the months and months and year went on from last year when this film was supposed to be released, my expectations and the bar of excitement that I had for this movie dropped tremendously, to the point where I didn't care, and it was one of the few Marvel things that I'm like, I really want to see Black Widow because she deserves her own film and it deserves success, but with how Disney is handling this whole pandemic and not releasing these major films when they should have. I mean, HBO Max released Wonder Woman 1984, Disney released Mulan and Soul last year on their streaming service. Why not Marvel? Come on, give us something. So I went into this movie kind of wanting to hate it, and I hate that I said that because I hate doing that with any film. Thankfully, I watched it though, because this ended up being one of my favorite MCU films ever released. This is one hell of a send-off for a character that has been with the audiences, has been with the MCU almost since the beginning. It almost makes you a little mad that it took this long for Black Widow to finally get her solo film. And it's been reported that they really didn't have confidence in female-led superhero films back then, back in 2010 and 2011. Really not until Wonder Woman did it in 2017 when they were finally like, yeah, let's finally do this. And no, we're not going to do this with Black Widow. Let's do it with Captain Marvel, a character that we've never seen before on screen. That makes sense, right? But I also think there was a scheduling conflict with scheduling a Black Widow film, because I know during the filming of Captain America Civil War that Scarlett Johansson, I'm pretty sure, was pregnant for that film. And I know that she probably didn't want to shoot a film directly after giving birth to her child, so I think that's why this film was delayed for several years. Just unfortunately, it came after her character's demise in Avengers Endgame. It does give us a pretty good end credit scene, I will admit though. But I love Scarlett Johansson in this role. I think she does an admirable job here again, and there are really nice subtle callbacks to the Avengers films and her previous entries into this Marvel Cinematic Universe, where everything comes full circle for her as a character and as Scarlett Johansson as the performer. So I think she does a terrific job, but really the standout of this film, and I'm pretty sure it's unanimous across the world, everyone who has seen this thing so far, that Florence Pugh as Yelena Romanoff is awesome. I want so many more things of her as this character. Florence Pugh has become one of my favorite up-and-coming actresses in the last couple of years. I did see her in Midsommar last year, and I will admit, every time that I see pictures or films of hers, I immediately just think back to the ending of Midsommar and how creeped out I was. So when she's on screen, she is awesome, but there's a little part of my brain that goes, "You're the lady in the flower crown." But she's great. In the trailers, I heard her Russian accent, and I thought that was going to drive me crazy throughout the entire movie. Absolutely not. I love her accent here, and her delivery of several lines, I wouldn't be surprised if many of them were improvised, but she has these little asides that are sarcastic digs about things that are happening. She criticizes Black Widow for being a poser because she's always striking a pose after she lands. Great stuff! At times she's serious, at times she's hilarious, at times you feel so bad for her and you start emoting with her as you're seeing her just break down in tears on screen. She's the standout. I want her to continue on in this universe for years to come, please. I love her. And we also have a fun little performance from David Harbour as the Red Guardian. Again, very hilarious, great little asides. He's very natural in his performance. I wish we would have gotten more with him actually as Red Guardian, though. When he's sitting down, delivering dialogue, and he's talking to people, he's an absolute joy, and he's great. But when it comes to the action scenes, really, there's one, and you see it in the trailer. It doesn't last that long, and that's it for him. So I was a little let down with Red Guardian. I wanted to see a lot more of him. Maybe we will later on in the MCU, or maybe we don't. He might not make it out of this movie. And Rachel Weisz is always a delight to see on screen. It was very weird not hearing her with an English accent, which is where she's from, and I think every movie that I've seen her in, she's had that accent. At the beginning, they're undercover in Ohio, so she has this American accent, so we get the British interpretation where they enunciate every single word, because that's how Americans talk, right? No, a lot of times you can't understand what I'm saying. But switching from American accent to the Russian accent, I think all works for her. Again, she is a terrific actress. She's one of my favorites. More utilized than Red Guardian, actually, to my surprise. Probably the biggest knock on this movie, and really when it comes to Marvel Cinematic Universe films, this is always the issue with the majority of them. It's the villain. The big promotional villain is Taskmaster. That's the big costume villain that we see in the trailers. Very, very, very underutilized here. They have a couple of scenes in the beginning of the film, and then there's a huge section where we're getting the development of our main characters and our heroes, and we totally forget about Taskmaster. And they don't even end up being the main villain here. Some guy named Dreykov, played by Ray Winstone, who is the guy from Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull who kept flip-flopping back and forth. Jonesy! Come here, Jonesy! Jonesy! Yeah, he's a very easy actor to hate on screen. But he's the main baddie, and he's the one behind the whole Widow program, snatching up and stealing little girls on the street for several decades. And this is where the movie really bumps it up to that next level of being great and exceptional, is the commentary on real life things that are happening now. Little girls being stolen and kidnapped and sell into slavery, to sell into sex trading and things like that. All of this still going on, it's been going on for years, hundreds of years actually. And there is an opening montage where we get all the credits and everything, and we see that stuff happening. That is a very hard thing to see as an audience member, let alone in a Disney movie. And over the last couple of years, we've been talking about Thanos and his plan, about how he wants to wipe out half of the population of the universe because our resources are finite here. There is a line in this movie from Dreykov where he's explaining why he does the bad things that he does, why he kidnaps little girls, because his mindset is that the greatest resource that we have on this planet is women. And that just sends tingles down your spine in realizing just how dark and disgusting and evil that one line is. Does the character do much in the film? No. But just that line and a couple lines after that, it just boils your blood under your skin to where you want to see this character get his comeuppance, because that is one of the sickest things I've ever heard. Again, in a Disney movie. This film is actually very graphic for being a Disney film. There are a lot of broken bones in this movie, and they linger on them too. And with me and breaking bones, it's just... Looking at news reports today, this film is a major success with everything domestic, international box office, and the purchases on Disney+. It's grossed $218 million opening weekend. which is mind-blowing to me. Good for this film and good for this character, because Black Widow deserved to have a good box office. I wasn't thinking it was going to happen with this character and with the whole pandemic situation for the last year and a half. Thankfully, it did. This is, without a doubt, one of my favorite MCU films. I may put it in my top 5. I may even put it above Iron Man at the number 5 spot in my ranking. I don't know if I'm there yet because the film is pretty brand new. I don't want to make any final judgments, but it is up there. I'm going to give Black Widow 4.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
So guys, what did you think of Black Widow? Where does it fall on your ranking of all the MCU films and TV shows? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you on the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.